I have a feeling this might end up being one of the most interesting preseason episodes of the Spit Right Option podcast. Let's talk about it. Jason, hit our music.
Burn, 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 burn. All
I
right, we're
like
back.
I like how the music thing you made a face because you know what we're going to talk about this episode, but you lit up when I said Jason Aponte hit the music. I like how the music bit is good enough for at least that. Jason, it is Monday, August 18th. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Las Vegas Raiders on Saturday by a score of nobody cares to nobody cares. It was a preseason football game once again. There are a lot of things to talk about, but Jason Aponte, the first thing, as always, I like to talk about with you is how's your day? How's your weekend? How was the Mets Mariners? How was everything for you, man?
Man, Mets Mariners was cool. Got a chance to finally meet Rob in
Oh yeah.
person, and City Field is of a nicer stadium than Yankee Stadium. Just there's not a bad seat in the house. It was really a nice time, and it was a perfect day for a ball game too.
I saw Rob giving you some shit on Twitter for leaving a baseball game early, but that like whatever, man.
Listen, if the New York Yankees, who are my favorite team, are involved in a game that is 1-1 in the ninth inning, I'm not going anywhere. If the New York Yankees are winning 7-1 in the seventh inning, I'm out. If the Mets and Mariners are 3-0 in the eighth inning, I'm beating the fucking traffic. Who cares, man? You can't be serious. All these rules for
Uh,
like what you can and can't do, I don't give a shit. I'm not a Mets or a Mariners fan. The game was over. They were down 3-0. The Mariners couldn't do nothing. I got on the train and made it home safely. Like what do I gotta? What do you don't get a medal for sticking around in the ninth inning? That's the stupidest shit I ever heard of in my
uh,
life.
I did like the Ken Griffey Jr. shirt. That was a
Hell yeah.
pretty heat. Major League Baseball has come out with some pretty heat. Ken Griffey Jr. I have the hat with the MLB logo with the backwards hat on it. Like
Hmm.
that's a good one. But Jason, I'm glad you got to meet Stat. That's a pretty cool
Yeah.
thing. I think you and I know how kind of cool it is to meet people you've met through Twitter. We've done it a few times with a lot of different people, so that's always a fun little experience to go through.
And the most wholesome thing that I've ever seen, he brought his son along, and they have this game in which they choose a number of
Okay.
foul balls throughout the entire game, 9 innings. Not foul balls that go into the stands, just
Okay.
anything that's considered foul. And I believe his name is Thomas. He's very bright kid, very nice. He said it at 46, and it was just so cool to see him and Rob go back and forth throughout the game. He's like, Dad, that's 15. Dad, that's 17. I was just like, oh man, see, how could you not be romantic about baseball?
That's such a like for a man named Stats. That's such a man named Stats thing to do. You're tracking
Hmm.
the foul balls in a baseball game. I love that. Jason, my weekend. Shout out the Swamp Donkeys. We won the World Championship of Friday Night
Hell
Softball
yeah.
in Sacramento. I hit the. My softball team would like me to tell everybody that I hit a bases loaded pop out in the first inning, but I hit the game winning triple and scored the game winning run in the championship game. So I have the clutch gene. Dare I say, Jason? Let's talk Niners
The
football against
arsonist
the.
and the firefighter,
I don't know what that reference is, but I like it.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh yeah, there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
I gotta
man,
come back on this last drive. Yeah, well, stop throwing 3 interceptions in the first half, you dick.
that's a good. I like. I've never heard the arsonist and the firefighter. I love that. That's actually. I like that. The I'm gonna call myself the Jimmy Garoppolo of the Swamp Donkey. See how that goes over. Jason, Niners beat the Raiders 22-19 on Friday. Andrew Pasquapolo. That, yeah, man. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Niners beat the Raiders 22-19 on Saturday in Las Vegas. A lot of people I knew were there. A lot of people were in Vegas this weekend.
Yeah.
Um, I think people know what we're going to have to talk about at some point, but I want to give Jason what he wants first because I do want to talk about the first drive of the game. We got the starters, and maybe the most encouraging thing of the entire game for me. I know there's a kicker we're going to have to talk about here in a second, but the most encouraging thing for me in this game was the instant Brock Purdy to Ricky Pearsall connection. Purdy goes 5 for 7 for 66 yards. 44 or 42 of those 66 yards were towards Ricky Pearsall. Pearsall was targeted 4 times, 3 receptions. They had a 21-yard reception on a 3rd and 18. And I know a lot of people at preseason football, yada, yada, yada. But Jason, I don't know if we've talked about the state of the 49ers wide receiver room. We don't know what it is. And to see the first impression of Brock Purdy with his potential number one receiver for question mark, however long it may be, I think that's probably the most positive thing from Saturday, and maybe the most positive thing we're going to get in any of the 3 games for the preseason.
Oh my God. I mean, we just watched that first drive. Rob and I were watching it while we were at the game, and I was just like, once it was done, I was like, just get him out of there. That's it. I've seen enough. With the Ricky Pearsall stuff, it's showing on tape that he's becoming a smarter route runner. And that's the development you need to see. Getting yourself open with skills is one thing. Understanding the soft points in the zone and being able to stop your route and get your throws to, he's on the same page as Brock Purdy. That was it was just amazing to see. Again, once I saw the outcome, whatever, you didn't score a touchdown, fine. Get him off the field. That's it. And that's it. Wrap every single starter up in bubble wrap moving forward. I don't want to see one starter this entire weekend.
Yeah, and I think the case of him finding a soft spot on the coverage, I think that was the 3rd and 18 as well. He just kind of find a spot, 21 yards downfield, and that's all you need, obviously, on a 3rd and 18. But it excited me. I'm still a little adjustment period seeing Ricky Pearsall in jersey number 1. That's kind of taken me a second to get used to. But yeah, with Demarcus Robinson, his situation, and I don't know if we're any closer to a Demarcus Robinson decision, especially with the Rashee Rice stuff going on right now. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, having Pearsall, it feels like, yes, it was a one drive, but it felt like a Pearsall we didn't see all year last year. I don't know really how to describe it outside of that, Jason. Is it felt like Pearsall, not that he didn't belong last year, but he felt like he belonged in that spot. And I think that's the highest compliment you could give somebody in a preseason game, especially week 2.
Yeah, that just looked like the continuation of the end of last season, and that's what you wanted. Again, I've seen enough. Don't even let Ricky Pearsall get anywhere near a tackling dummy or or same thing with any, please God, and that's what we really should be talking about in this game is just injuries. But please God, all these starters, please just don't do anything. Just please be ready for week 1. But it was really nice to see him picking up where he left off, and Brock looked as sharp as ever. And that's it. You don't need anything else from this next game coming up.
No. Let's talk about those injuries really quick. The biggest one, obviously, Dominic Puny, PCL injury, injured on a field goal attempt, which maybe I just don't understand football, Jason. I don't know why your starting right guard is blocking for field goal attempts, but that's just me. I'm saying openly, I don't know how that works. Maybe you could explain it to me a little bit. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. His week 1 is in jeopardy at this moment. And then the other kind of semi big injury, just because it came off of a 19-yard run, was Corey Kiner, who's had a very good camp, got a lot of recognition. He goes down with an ankle injury. He had to be carted off. I haven't seen any updates on him, however.
High ankle sprain.
There's that bad word again, Jason Aponte.
Yeah, and with the Pooney thing, starters were going to be on the field for the first drive. That's part of being a starter, right? Like if your starting kicker and your starting special teams unit is going to be there, he was going to be there. Just unfortunate. Again, it goes back to there's no rhyme or reason to why these things happen sometimes. It's not just stretching. It's not like that. Sometimes it's bad luck, and it just feels like bad luck again and again. I think we're gonna find out. You can say that him walking off the field is a positive, but when all that adrenaline's flowing through you, Kobe Bryant shot 2 free throws on an Achilles. Same thing with Klay Thompson, right? Like then you find out the severity. We hear that it might not be as serious, but just the last thing you want to hear at this point. And you know what? He has 2 weeks to get ready, so we just hope for the best. But my God, man, how much more?
Yeah, and I mean it's never good. I mean, we talked about the offensive line last week, Jason, where it's an injury away from not being in a good spot, and then of course you see, and I guess this is kind of what preseason football is, and there's a little more panic to it, but you hear on the TV, hey, Puny's hurt, he's out, and then I think it was Brad. He posted the first video of him getting rolled over on the PAT or the field goal attempt, whichever one it was. And then it's radio silence, and thank God we got to see the video of him with on the sideline without any brace or any support on the knee, and that kind of was your first sign of good news, because I think if it was anything more serious than that, he wouldn't even be on the bench. But then not seeing it with anything around it, it's a good sign. Yes, is it bad that he might miss week 1? Absolutely, but I mean, in the scope of everything this 49ers offseason, this camp, like that that's best. The second he gets rolled up on, the best case scenario is a couple weeks, and that's at least what the Niners get away with. It might make Seattle that much more difficult, but I mean, it might be the best injury news the Niners have had in a few months.
Yeah, I agree. And Ryan Reed, thank you for the donation, buddy. What up, guys? Just want to say that Ricky Pearsall running routes really butters my bread. Dude is skilled. He think he's going to be a game changer for us. Yeah, we opened with that. Obviously, it's easy engagement right now if you just say that Ricky Pearsall is going to have a really good season, because I think everybody believes that. And when you consider the rest of the room, just to see him take on that role, because the last thing we needed to see was, can Ricky be the man? Can he beat press, right? When everyone knows that he's the target, can he be there? I think he's answering that very well, and I'd love to get more answers in week 1. I just don't want to see him practicing or anything, like nothing. Just get out of the way and go. And look at Deebo Samuel on a handoff. Look at Deebo.
I got this replay right here. Hang on, I got it up right here. Deebo end around. Yeah,
looks fast.
He's going to be really good. He looks fast and not fat. That's the key. He's going to be really good in Washington this year. Somebody smart I know tweeted on Saturday night, 1.2 thousand likes, 64 retweets. This is a safe space, right? Ricky Pearsall is going to go crazy this year, and that was my reaction to just that one drive. Like again, I think the biggest thing that came out of preseason was that connection, that chemistry between Brock Purdy and him.
What was pretty cool is starting safety who's injured, Malik Mustafa, agrees, and he liked the tweet as well too. So I think everybody is. It's the lowest hanging fruit. I think everyone's expecting Ricky to have a big season. It's just really nice, and just hopefully he puts it together, because it's going to make those reactionary takes so early on in his career, really look crazy when not you, but just someone labeled him a bust after whatever, or after the unfortunate robbery attempt. So, if they hit on a first round receiver, that'll be him and Brandon Ayuk, and I'd say they're doing pretty good. If they got 2 of those guys to be, the guys.
Hey man, if they get Pearsall to kind of step up and have him be the second receiver, then Jawan Jennings slides back into that third receiver that I'm most comfortable with him in, and that makes it feel a little more natural, all that fun stuff. But hey, that's a conversation for another day. Jason, any thoughts on Purdy's game? I know 5 for 7, small. We kind of talked about it more in the scope of Ricky Pearsall. I think my really big takeaway is it's always just good to see 13 on the field, and he looked about what you expect.
Look sharp. Look like he had everything in charge. Looks like a guy who's going into, with more experience, knows he's the man. I've seen enough. I don't need to see anything more. That was a great first drive. Get him in, get him out.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we talk about the player?
Nick Martin looked very, very, very good. I think that's the type of stuff that you want to see when you're looking for that development from him. I think a lot of us assumed right away that Nick Martin was going to be somebody who stepped into the fray. It's obviously going to be D. Winters, who starts with Fred Warner. Chase Lucas is really making the secondary depth a lot better. Again, they have a bunch of nickels, but that's really great to see. We hope that Upton Stout's back, but Chase Lucas is really making it hard to keep him off the roster. Robbie Chosen had a really good game. I mean, 92 yards. It's going to be really hard to keep him off the roster. Russell Gage is somebody that's going to be there. There's a lot of interesting things going on with this team. There's a lot of interesting things for these other spots. So it's not all about this one thing that everybody wants us to talk about. There are definitely football players that deserve more attention, that are actually going to have impacts on games, that actually do things on the football field than what we're about to talk about. But yeah, it's good to see all these things. Jalen Mahoney even coming back and getting that interception, which set up the field goal to win the game. He was out, and then he came back, and he played well. There was many things to like about this. Now, the things that you don't like, Jair Brown, I mean, woof, buddy. I don't know what is going on, man. I'm starting to think that maybe he was much better in Steve Wilks' defense, and he might have been more of a Wilks pick than people wanted to believe that it was. So, woof, buddy. I mean, you can't get mossed by Brock Bowers like that, man. Like, you got to put yourself in better spots there. So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about, man. There's a lot of things going on with this team, right? And then left guard, right, with Ben Barch and Connor Colby. I've seen enough of Nick Zackle. Like, it's done. Like, it's done. I don't want to see anymore. I don't think that he's big enough, strong enough to anchor. I don't think he's big enough, strong enough to be the answer. If they do have to play somebody other than Ben Barch, which I think he'll be there week 1, then it's got to be Connor Colby. I've seen enough of Nick Zackle. This is going on year 4 and nothing. And it's just it's time. It's time to move on. Just cut beat.
And Zackle seems like a name we see every training camp, every preseason. It's like, hey, this might be a guy, and this is the 4th year we're hearing of him. And I mentioned last week about how he might be falling out of favor, and I don't think Saturday particularly helped him. I did want to talk about Nick Martin for a second. Impressive to say the least, just because, and I know Rich Madrid roasted me a little bit in the group chat. Whatever, don't care, man. But it's for me, you knew he had the athleticism, right? He had the athleticism. It was just more the football instincts. And last week he didn't have a great game, but a week later he was out there. And I think the most impressive, because I know like the sacks and the tackle for loss and all that stuff was impressive. I get that, but I don't know why ESPN didn't mark him down for a pass deflection, because he had a play where he did get beaten coverage. I forget that it was against a tight end. I forget who it was against. He did get beat. The throw was maybe a little behind, but Martin stuck with the play and punched the ball out for a pass breakup. And like, those are the things like Niners linebackers, I feel like, have always been able to do. The good ones is, yes, they're good, obviously, within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage and all that. But, Fred Warner has that ability where if he needs to, wasn't there a play last year where like Fred Warner was like 30 yards downfield with a receiver and broke up a pass? I forget what game that was exactly, but he had a, and so I was really impressed by Nick Martin. I see it. I see the vision with him. I don't know if he's a guy that, you want him to start yet, but I feel like with Saturday against the Raiders, he showed a little bit of everything. And that's what you've become used to with 49er linebackers, is they can do a little bit of everything. And I mean, six tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, a quarterback hit, like he was all over the place. So to sit there and say, hey, the game against the Broncos wasn't his best, but then 7 days later he bounced back with, I mean, he's 2 games into his career, so the best game of his career isn't that impressive yet, but to bounce back with this level of performance in just a week, very impressive. And that's a good sign for him.
Yeah, and Fish Bell, channel member, Spicy Squad member, thank you, man. Backup for Pooney, then should that be Drew Moss? I'm not convinced on Zacho either. Yeah, I think it would have to be Drew Moss. But you know what, man? I really have a feeling that they're just letting John Feliciano hang out before they eventually make the call. He went on, if I'm not mistaken, was it 95-7 the game today? He was on there and he said that he's retired for about 27 football teams, one of the 5 being the San Francisco 49ers. So, like, right now, when we're looking at the way this team is being built, right, and with running backs, and I know everybody's talking about Brian Robinson. The answer is no, by the way. I'm not sending a draft pick for Brian Robinson. Why, if you can just wait a few days when he doesn't get traded and he's cut and you can sign him, if you want to bring him in that badly. But they're going to keep guys close, right? Jeff Wilson scores a touchdown. He's somebody that you can keep close and just bring back in. I have a feeling they're going to do that with this offensive line as well, too, with just Feliciano hanging out. Now, is that smart? I don't know, but that's definitely their strategy, and I definitely think they're going to make that call sooner than later.
Yeah, it's Feliciano. I feel like he's been kind of
He's been campaigning for it.
He's been campaigning. I was going to use a different word. Campaigning is the PG version of the word I was using. But yeah, I feel like that there's some smoke to that, and maybe it's just a situation where, I mean, he doesn't have to because he's been around for so long. It's just a player who doesn't want to do training camp, which totally fine. Like if I was in the NFL for as long as him, I would not want to do training camp. I totally get that.
Well, it's not just him either, right? Matthew Judon just got signed today. He didn't want to do training camp, right? Keenan Allen didn't want to. Amari Cooper's still available. Like, there's a lot of guys that are just like, you know what, man, just call me when it's time to get it going. So I don't blame him or anybody. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, he definitely is just making sure that the 49ers know that he's hanging out in the background and it's just a call away.
All right, Jason, let's talk about it. We've killed enough time. Let's talk about it. The Jake Moody experience. 5 for 6 on field goals. He came out. He made a 30-yard attempt to start the game to put the Niners on the board after the opening drive of the game, where the Niners looked pretty good with their first-string players. He then comes out for a 53-yard attempt in a 10-10 game, and it was never good. It wasn't even one of those where it's like, oh, maybe. Nope. Off the second he kicked it, it was a miss. His very next kick is a 26-yard attempt that if it was from 27, it bounces off the upright. So that confidence just was not there. And then the game flips to the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden, 50-yard to tie the game with 9:27 left, a 44-yarder to tie the game with 37 seconds left, and then maybe the most surprising thing to happen in 49ers football preseason history, at least. Jake Moody hits a 59-yard field goal as time expires to avoid the tie. There's no overtime in preseason football. To avoid the tie, to give the 49ers the win. And I saw a lot of takes on twitter.com, Jason. I don't know if you've noticed that. People have takes on twitter.com. There's a lot of people saying, hey, Jake Moody sucks. There's a lot of people saying people need to apologize to Jake Moody because of his fourth quarter. I'm somewhere in the middle because for a few reasons. The 53-yard miss followed by the 26-yard make that was just barely that's the issue with Jake Moody, right? Is the issue of when he misses one, it tends to turn into two, or the confidence shake. And obviously he didn't miss two in this game. But then I do want to give him credit. I will give Jake Moody credit because, again, preseason game, we got to add the caveat. But he comes in with 2 field goal attempts, less than 40 seconds left, benefited by a Chase Lucas interception in between. He makes a field goal to tie the game, and he makes a field goal to win the game. And again, I know it's a preseason football game, Jason, and within a vacuum, it means nothing. But if we're talking about Jake Moody's confidence being an issue, maybe, and this is wishful Andrew Pasquini thinking here, right here. Maybe this is something that boosts his confidence rolling into next week. Now, if he goes out, misses that first field goal against Los Angeles on Saturday, then this is all for nothing, right? But some good, some bad, obviously, from Jake Moody. Overall, more good than bad because he hits the game winner. I just want to get to a point with him where I'm not watching like this. And that, I think that's the first step. I do want to give him his credit for the 3 kicks in the fourth quarter, but there's still a level of trust that needs to be breached, I guess. Is that the best way to put it?
I think you put it together very eloquently.
Thank you.
I have a very simple message. Just make your fucking kick so I have to stop talking about you.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, now, 1, 2. This fan base is at times very bipolar. Mm-hmm. When Jair Brown's getting smoked, everyone's like, oh my God, take him off the field. He can't play. When Deebo Samuel drops a pass, oh my God, Deebo Samuel, you suck. When somebody throws an interception, oh my. And yet, when a kicker whose his only job is to kick, misses kicks, oh, please don't say anything bad about Jake Moody. Be nice to him. No. No. When a 49ers player misses a tackle, Twitter lights up and says, holy shit, this guy stinks. Mm-hmm. When Colton McKivitz loses 1 rep, replace Colton McKivitz. He's the worst right tackle in football. When Jair Brown gives up a catch, bench Jair Brown. He can't play. But God forbid you say anything that if in any way when you're frustrated about the kicker and it becomes a sob story about please be nice to him. Fuck that. Make your kicks. Yeah. You do one thing. Those guys that play football, block, catch the ball, tackle people, run the ball. They have many things to do. It's much more difficult. But when you criticize the kicker, it's please be nice to Jake Moody. Listen, if you're scared, go to church. Man up, buckle up, and if you're not ready, bet. Once he starts going haywire in the season, you can guarantee that they're going to call Greg Joseph. But this idea that 49er fans can slam players who aren't performing, rightfully so. When you don't perform, you should get that. But when a kicker makes kicks, it's apologize because he did his job. It's hypocrisy to the highest level.
Yeah.
Shit on him all you want when he's playing bad. That's what you do when anybody else plays bad on the team, right?
Yeah.
Stop it. Just make your kicks so we can stop talking about you, dude. Can I just get you to just do your job? Can I just get you to make your kicks? then we can stop discussing it. There's football players that are fighting for roster spots, and people have been fighting for a spot for playing time, and here we are discussing about the damn kicker. Like, come on, man. Enough. Just make the kicks.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
oh yes it is. I don't know. And Rand, you might be new. I don't know. You might be new, but yes it is. It was literally after the kick. Apologize. Don't you have anything to say? No, thank you for doing your job. No,
I'm not gonna call any individual out, Ran. But if you go search the name of the trophy on Twitter.com that the Niners play for every season, that name, there's a bunch of that there. It is all over the place. There is a lot of people that tend to ignore when Jake Moody misses certain kicks, but then with kind of like the situation on Saturday where he misses the 53. And I want to reiterate, Jake Moody deserves credit for the 59-yard attempt, like the game winner. Like, he deserves all the credit in the world for that. Well, that's by no stretch of the mean an easy kick, but there's a lot of people that stay silent when there is the miss of Jake Moody. And it's like every player. When Moody misses, they stay silent. But then when he makes one, it's, oh, well, this is why we can't say anything about Jake Moody, is look, he made the one. And so it is there. It is there. And again, a lot of this isn't Jake Moody's fault because of his draft slot, but a lot of it is Jake Moody's fault because of his performance. And when the Niners bring in a guy like Greg Joseph to compete with him, that tells you all the Niners think. That tells you all you need to know about what the Niners think about him. So it's a tough situation. I mean, being a kicker in the NFL is not the easiest position mentally. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a hard position to play physically, but mentally, because you do get a lot of slack for misses and you don't get a ton of praise because it is your job, right? Your job is to make kicks. But it definitely doesn't help when you're a third round pick in a position that nobody drafts in the top 100 anymore. And Moody has not been consistent enough, and that's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, he's totally a victim of his own draft price, which I think is a little messed up. And I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But again, I've always been of the mind that I don't care what kicker you took in the top 100. I would have killed that pick anyway. So it's not It's not personal. It's not personal. Mm-hmm. But I think I figured it out, Andrew. I think I know how we can get this back on board, and it's a little bit of a off the wall take, but just bear with me here.
I like off the wall takes.
No matter where the 49ers play, you slap a VR headset on Jake Moody to make him think he's kicking in Las Vegas, because that seems to be the only place that he makes these deep kicks, right? The Super Bowl, he set the record for the longest Super Bowl kick for a little while. He drills his 59-yarder. Even his first year, he did well in Vegas. I'm starting to think outside the box because I don't need him in Cleveland, getting the yips right there. But if he thinks he's in Las Vegas, man, he might be able to drill that thing from 60, huh?
Mm-hmm. I like that idea. I like that. Yeah. We just got to get clearance to the NFL to allow him to wear a VR headset while playing football. But outside of that, I think that is a very, very sound strategy, Jason Aponte. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we said everything that needed to be said about it. It's a weird situation that the Niners, not Jake Moody, the Niners have put themselves into, because again, if Jake Moody was a 6th round pick, Jake Moody wouldn't be on this roster right now. Plain and simple.
No, and another thing that I want to say, shout out to Ariel Mods in the house. He's the kicker.
He's the kicker.
So what's the point in? Yeah, he's the kicker.
He's the kicker until he's not.
Right. Until he has this implosion. Mm-hmm. And it would have to take something like what happened in Tampa Bay last year, which, funny enough, he drilled the game-winning kick in that one. But it would have to take something like that, but then they can call Greg Joseph, and that's the beauty of it, right? When he was injured, the 49ers went to the phone, and they brought in 3 kickers, including one who couldn't make one his entire time when he was in Green Bay. Thank you, Anders Carlson, because you opened the door for our comeback. All those guys made their kicks. Mm-hmm. So Jake Moody, you're not out of the woods, bud, because if you have another one of these blowout, like meltdown games, the 49ers have shown, because you've gotten injured, that they can pick up people off the street who won't miss a kick, who won't miss a beat. And Greg Joseph is that guy. So it's just like, just make your kicks, man. And if you don't, you're out of here. And that's not my take. That's literally what's going to happen.
Yeah, ultimately, what it comes down to, Jake Moody, is the easiest way to get your flowers on the Sprint Right Option podcast is just make your kicks. Just make your kicks, and he did, but unfortunately, you have to sit and talk about the 53-yard miss and the 26-yard. I don't like to call field goals near misses because near misses are just makes, right? It is a made field goal, but when it's from if it was from 46, I would say that's a make. But that was a 26-yard attempt that would have been no good from 27. And that, like, the fact that I can't feel comfortable with the 26, like, to me, the uncomfortable feeling at the 26-yard attempt wipes out the game winner at 59 a little bit, because yes, he'll make a 59-yard kick every so often, but it's still like there's still shakiness there, and that's what makes me nervous. We just need, like, I guess the best way to do it, man, is to get the Jim Harbaugh, the quarterback on the head, get him amped up, but do it for the kicker. I guess I don't know. There's something there mentally, I think, because like the talent's there. I don't like to flex this Jason Aponte, but I watched every single one of his kicks at Michigan in that draft process. The talent is there. It's just he gets shaken very easily, and you can see it. Like, you can see it in his face. And what was it this Cleveland game where, like, I don't want to,
he looked like he was going to cry after the game.
Yeah. So it's for Moody, I feel like it is strictly confidence, and how to fix that, I don't know. I am not a sports psychologist. I am merely a podcaster, but Jake Moody, fix the confidence, and the conversation's better.
And look, this is how you know you're doing a good job. We don't bring your name up once.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. We only talk about you when you miss kicks. We only talk about you when you miss kicks that can win games.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're not talking about you, then you're doing your job. Yep. So it's almost like when a backup, rookie left tackle goes in for Trent Williams, but you don't hear his name called the entire game. That's a good thing. That's what you need. So that's it. I think we've spent enough time on this. But look, the bottom line is just make the damn kicks, man. And stop, and people stop being so soft. When players have bad games, people go crazy on them. When he's missing kicks and has bad games, don't start saying, "Oh, apologize," after he does his job, because you guys never do that. When Brandon Ayuk dropped the pass last year, right, in week 1, you guys were all like, "Oh my God, the holdout, the contract." Yeah, and then week 3 against Arizona, when we went for 130 yards, y'all weren't apologizing. So stop with that kicker shit, man. He gets the same treatment that everybody else does. We're not treating him any differently.
Mm-hmm. Some names that haven't really been mentioned. Chase Lucas had the interception. Follows up a good week 1. I think he's going to be on the roster. Marcus Siegel all over the place again. Really liked him. Good. I think he's really stepping toward the Pinnock Siegel starting safety combo.
That's
like
done.
That's week
1.
Yeah,
Jair Brown's not gonna be on the field, man.
Jair Brown. I'm very curious how they handle that situation, because there are a few other safeties on the roster that you can get by as your backups.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm curious what the Jair Brown situation settles with.
I wonder if Steve Wilkes goes to the Jets and begs them to bring him over there. And Justin Simmons is still available, if I'm not mistaken, as safety. I don't know if you can fact check that. I mean, I think he's still available. So, that's the only way I could see it, because right now, like, you have no idea what's going to go on with Mustafa. The Siegel thing it looks good. He's still a rookie. Pinnock has never really, like, been the guy for this defense, obviously, in his first season. So we don't necessarily know. But I mean, if you move Tig and you can get a draft pick and then you sign Justin Simmons you feel much better about that.
Simmons is still available.
Yeah.
Bills fans are trying to get him right now, it looks like, according to Google.com.
Well, tell Bills fans I'm trying to get Curtis Samuel. So let's work something out here.
I like that idea. Let's see. I want to make sure we get everybody we already said Robbie Chosen. He had a good game, 5 for 9.
He had a very good game.
I feel like we kind of touched on everything who needed to be touched on. So Jason, you want to go 3 stars?
Sure.
3 stars on NinersNation.com. Jason Aponte. I am doing 3 stars in article form as well. That was posted this morning. You go find that NinersNation.com. Shout out the new look to the website. Also, another good time to remind you, if you're new here, who was the name we were talking to? Rand. First time we've noticed your name. Great time to subscribe to the Jason Aponte YouTube channel. Sprint Right Option Podcast, State of the Franchise, Peacock, Stats, Steph Sanchez. A lot of great content here.
Maybe Dieter and Aponte every week too.
Maybe Dieter and Aponte, but we all know everybody loves Pasquini and Aponte. That's their number one favorite show. At least that's what they tell me to my face. But that's okay. Jason Aponte, 3 stars. I'll go first. I'll go with my number 3 star. I'm gonna go Nick Martin. Again, I was very, very impressed with this game. It showed growth. I think that like the stats are the stats, but it showed growth week to week. His football instincts looked better. He had a few plays near the line of scrimmage, tackles, open field. He was flying all over the place. He looked like a 49ers linebacker. So I want to go Nick Martin, my 3rd star.
I was going to say Nick Martin, but I'll choose Chase Lucas, man. Again, the Upton Stout thing, again, you're starting a rookie. You're very high on him, but to have an experienced player like Chase Lucas who can be there, this doesn't look like an Isaiah Oliver type signing. This looks like a guy who's actually figuring it out under Robert Saleh. Chase Lucas is making it very difficult to just automatically hand it over to Stout, but I do think they will go with Stout, but it's really nice to have him in that depth role because he may be asked to play, whether it's based on injury or maybe just there's going to be bumps and bruises with Stout. It's not going to be smooth sailing the entire time, but it's really nice to have somebody that you could depend on. So Vish, real quick, I'm going to read this channel member. I forgot Wilkes was over on the Jets. That's why Russ, Dart, Jameis, and DeVito had a good day Saturday. The Giants-Jets game was Saturday, and oh my God, that Russell Wilson 80-yard moon ball, oh my God, Unk still has it.
Did you see his interception though?
Yeah, but did you see the sequence of plays and how that happened?
Yeah.
Like Dart was in there. They took Dart out to bring in Wilson. Wilson throws it to nobody. I'm looking at the TV like, Brian Dabble, you absolute moron. What are you doing over there? What are you cooking over there?
Jameis Winston just played Jameis every snap. Like what is going on here? My number 2 star, I'm gonna go Ricky Pearsall. He looked good. He looked real good, and that's really the only reason I have. 3 receptions, 42 yards. He looked real good.
Yeah. Number 2, I'm gonna go Brock Purdy. Again, just for somebody who hasn't really been, playing or anything like that, to get in here and just look like yourself, look like you have full command of this offense, look like the entire team believes in you, look like somebody who's taking steps. You and Pearsall on the same page as well, too, man. That's my quarterback. Let's go, Brock.
My number 1 star, Jason Aponte. Close your ears.
Jake Moody.
I'm gonna go Jake Moody. If this was in the scope of a regular season game, the idea of him making a 44-yard field goal with 37 seconds to go to tie the game, and the Niners getting the ball back very quickly, and him making a 59-yard field goal, which would be the longest kick of his career to win the game. He had 16 of the team's 22 points.
That's not good either, but.
That's a team issue. It's good for Jake Moody, bad for the 49ers. That's 100% correct. But in a game where the Niners win by 3 and he has 9 of those points in the 4th quarter himself, the game winner from 59, especially with the 2 aforementioned miss from 53 and the near miss from 26. All credit, man. Now the key is that game happened. What happens next week? Do you go 3 for 3? Do you go 2 for 2? Do you go 1 for 3? How does this roll? That's the important thing. But in the scope of the 60 minutes on the field in Las Vegas, Jake Moody has to be your number 1 star, at least for me.
He's not mine. Ricky Pearsall is. Yeah, Ricky Pearsall is my number 1 star. I mean, just everyone knows that you're going to be the guy. Everyone knows that you're the one who everyone's about to key on. Everyone knows that this team is relying on you. And to just be that confident and be able to run routes that way and just have that rapport with Brock Purdy, going into the 2nd year, how could you not feel confident? That's the type of stuff that you're going to need while you figure out what's going on with this receiver group. Ricky Pearsall, you're looking the part every single day. When someone is saying the same thing about you every single day, and no matter who's the person or whatever agenda they're trying to put together is still saying the same thing about you, then you know it's true. All we've heard is that Ricky Pearsall has been dominating whenever he's been on the field in training camp. Now you get to see it on the field every single day is being stacked. Ricky Pearsall, it's amazing to see you grow this quickly, and it's just we wanted to see this continue from last season. Here we are, and it looks like it's rolling. I'm in, man. I'm buying all the stock.
I love it. Yeah, no, if again, we've talked so much about the 49ers wide receiver problem, and if Ricky Pearsall develops into what we hope he is, that solves a lot of issues at the position. Jason, it was fun talking Niners Raiders. I want to talk about national football news. How far up does Justin Herbert move up your rankings hanging out with Madison Beer?
Madison Beer, huh? Whoa, we gotta
Shout
adjust
out.
the rankings. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, well, I don't look. I'd have to watch the tape because all I have is stills. But I need to see how the Riz came across and how
Yeah.
how he did it. Right, like I think I'm a bigger process over results guy.
Yes.
Like it's good. The result is good, but is it? She's just blinded by the fact that he's very tall and very rich, or did Justin Herbert put on the intangibles, right? Like that's why you've got to watch. That's why I need to see the process. So
You need the film, not the
I
stills.
need
Yeah.
I need the film. Yeah, not the stills. The stills to show one thing. They
was
can push off a
was
narrative, but the film
Madison Beer the first read, second read, third read? Like, what's he doing with the
or
offense? Yeah.
yeah. And what was the coverage look she was giving, and how did he tap out of like I need to see all of those little things because I do think the little nuances of the process it outweighs the result, and I feel like that with every evaluation. Very interested to get my hands on that tape.
Did he read the play at the line, kill, go to the second play, and make it work? Like, I just we need a little bit more to process there. But good. God, I just love the how well we need to watch the film. I like how that's just become a general terminology. I think
Well,
because of Rich Madrid a little bit, but like
well,
I use watch the film in just normal everyday life, and I think people like, what do you mean? Oh, you gotta watch the film, man.
Well, every poor NFL head coach with the Jets, that's literally all they ever say, right? Like, well, we're not gonna know until we watch the tape. Like, that's a big Hugh Jackson line. That's a big Hugh Jackson we're gonna no man. You were watching the whole game. You called all the plays. What is the film gonna tell you that you didn't like that's such a cop out. But it is funny because I do need to see the film when it comes to that. I need to find out what was the step by steps. How did this happen? And I just again always process over results. Results can hide the process. There could be
Yeah.
bad process, good results. There could be good process, bad results. I got to figure out what happened here. But shout out to Justin Herbert, man. You are rising up the draft board, or you're rising up the rankings if you're
Yeah.
able to close the deal here.
I like it. I guess real football talk. Matt Stafford returned to practice
He did.
today. Um,
Put some
maybe
respect on that immortal chamber.
that's what I'm saying. Is this? Hey, where are we going, guys? I need this immortal chamber. If it worked that well for Matt Stafford, where he was allegedly like not alive on Friday, and now all of a sudden he's practicing on Monday, that might be the best advertising for the immortal chamber. But Jason, I mean, I don't think we can really add any super deep insight about the importance of Matthew Stafford in terms of playing and how important that is to the NFC West. Uh, but where are you at with that? Do you think the practice is just them trying to show, hey, no, he's actually okay, or do you think he is actually okay?
I don't know if he's actually okay, but I know that he plays through things when he's not okay.
Yep.
So
And he's made a career on that. Like, all the
yeah,
credit in the world to him.
yeah. Now it's obviously harder when you factor in the age, but again, I won't believe anything until they say that he's out week one or something like that. Like I have a hard time believing that Matthew Stafford is not going to give it a go, man. Especially Devontae's there, and he feels like this is the twilight of his career. He doesn't want to go out like that. I think until I hear anything differently. Look, we can make all the Jimmy Garoppolo jokes that we want, and I thought it was pretty cool that him and Trey were talking. By the way, this is going to be a hellscape week for this 49ers Chargers thing. Like I'm really not looking forward to
No,
any other content this week
no.
at all. But yeah, I just think Stafford's not going to go out like that. I have a tough time counting him out, is what I'll say.
Rod, is there a little part of you that wants to know what the Jimmy Garoppolo experience is like? Because it's a ride.
It's an
It's a
experience.
ride. It's an experience. You remember the ESPN Michael Vick
The
experience
Michael,
commercial
the Nike
where they
Michael
put
Vick commercial.
was it a Nike commercial where they
Hmm.
put you in the roller coaster and you ran?
Yeah, but that was a good
It's
ride.
it's the exact opposite of that, but it's an experience, right? Life is all about experiences. Rod, are you sure you don't want to find out a little bit of what Jimmy Garoppolo is? Like, come on,
Well,
man.
Well,
3
I will
NFC
say,
Championship game appearances, my guy.
I will say this: no matter who steps in, they have 3 veteran quarterbacks. I mean, Stetson Bennett's 42. Like, this guy's been around the block, man. So,
He somehow went to Georgia before Matthew Stafford went to Georgia.
bro, Stetson Bennett is that guy from Necessary Roughness that goes back to college when he was 42, like, to play college. Like, they've got the most experienced quarterback room in there. They've got a guy who's in his 40s, a guy who's about to be in his 40s, and a guy who's in his 30s. I mean, the Rams are in a good spot. They, one way or another, an experienced signal caller is going to be under there. Who else can say that?
That's very, very true, because if they lose Purdy and Mac Jones, it's down to Tanner Mordecai. So
No, it's not. It's down to Carter Bradley. Mordecai's out of here.
Yeah, Mordecai's out of here.
But
I was playing Madden earlier today, and Tanner Mordecai's the third quarterback, and Carter Bradley doesn't exist apparently.
But the 49ers did work out Nate Sudfeld today.
Yes,
Sudfeld darts are back on the menu, and you may have to take a walk, Carter Bradley, no matter what your father does for this team. I'm sorry, man. I know Nate Sudfeld's better than him.
Yeah, he almost gotta be.
I mean, if you're not, you got a big problem.
Yeah, that should be the bar. Are you better than Carter Bradley? I think that's the line.
It's a low bar.
It's a low bar. You just gotta get a foot over it. That's all you gotta do. Hey, Jason, we will be back on Friday to preview 49ers Chargers, a game again. Jason mentioned. Don't know if there's any former 49ers on that team in any spots that
I am dreading this week so badly.
May or may not overreact to. But Jason, this is a podcast that's notorious for not overreacting to anything. So I'm sure we'll have a good conversation, a good, sane conversation about the Trey Lance Carter Bradley matchup coming up on Saturday.
I saw someone say, put in all the ones on defense against Trey Lance, and I said, I was like, don't you dare! I was like, look,
if you can turn off injuries, I'm all in on that.
Right, like. No, I said, listen, I was like, not only do I not want to see a single starter on the field, I don't even want them to go to the stadium. Leave them in the hotel. Like, don't even bring them to the stadium. Nobody. I don't want to see one starter. I don't care. Trey Lance could go 25 for 25 against guys that are going to be off this. I don't care. Please, no more injuries. Nobody.
Rod, thank you. We appreciate that.
Oh yeah, we have fun Rams fans. Like
we love our Rams
fans.
We
do.
Yeah,
Rod, marketing pro, Jim Everett.
I like our Rams fans.
Hell yeah,
Rod, thank you for joining us, Jason Aponte. Good time talking to you. Maybe next time we talk, it'll be less about the kicker. I'm looking forward to that. Jason Aponte, Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Bam.
Bam.